Hey guys, thanks very much for joining me again. So we did kick off the Raspberry Pi project, and I did say I was going to sort of document the process and make it into a video. My idea was that the video was going to be a step-by-step on how to go about creating your own Raspberry Pi image with RetroPie and running it through any sort of monitor just with the Xbox controller. However, it turned out to be a little trickier than I anticipated. So I don't want to put something out and go, yeah, this is dead easy, you'll have no problems at all. Because I did run into a few issues that weren't completely documented on various walkthroughs and things like that. So what I'll do is I will put out this video to show you the steps that I went through, and hopefully you'll avoid the pitfalls that I fell into. I will put out a more complete video of how to go about building it step by step, but I thought I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to say that, you know, this was dead easy. There was a bit of a learning curve. I made mistakes. I had to start the process over again. So I'm going to put this out in a few parts, warts and all, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks very much. See you again. So I ordered the Raspberry Pi 4, it's the 2GB version, got that from the Pi Hut, which sent it out really quickly. I think it was only a day's turnaround from ordering it. So this is the Pi itself. This is going to be the heart of our project. Two USB 3.0s, two normal USBs, mini HDMIs, power, SD card reader, and an Ethernet port as well, although it does have Wi-Fi capabilities there as well if you're wanting to go down that. Got it with a little case now. That won't be the one it'll stay in. I'll add heat sinks and things like that to it because it'll burn through some heat when it's running arcade ROMs and things like that. But I think the little case is good for now. It won't be running for too much time. There's actually something inside there. Oh, they're like little sticky feet. Okay, we can stick them onto it. But yes, the case will do now for a bit of protection and things like that just while I'm messing around. A 32GB memory card came with it, which holds various OSs, but we won't be using that. There's the power cord, lovely. And we've got, what's this? Oh, it's just the, what do you call it? Mini HDMI to HDMI lead, so that'll hook into the TV or the monitor that we're going to use. There we are. So there's, look at that tiny little thing, mini HDMI to HDMI, and of course a nice little sticker. Always appreciate a little sticker. So what we want to do is open up the case, and then the Raspberry Pi will of course go in there. So we'll just make sure that we get it the right way round. There are mounting screws, there are mounting points within the case. Unfortunately, don't have the necessary screws that would mount the circuit board to the case, but for now she'll go in because it sits there nice and flush, so it won't really move around. The mounting screws I can get later on and add them in just as a nice touch. So first what we're going to do is I'm just going to stick down the little feet. It'll be a nice little touch for it. It means it won't shift around while we're working on things. Not that I'm really expected to, but it's always a good wee idea, I guess, just so you don't knock it or, you know, nudge things accidentally. So they go on quite easy, and you can sort of shift them around a little bit and then just force down, and that'll keep them in place. Job's a good one. And then next what we're going to do is we'll take the Raspberry Pi again and we'll set her in nice and flush against the sides of the case. So everything that we've got here is pretty good. We've got the various ports, power supplies on the side along with the HDMI outs. So now that we've got the lid on, everything's looking good. You can see the various ports there. There's our USBs and Ethernet. Yeah, everything is looking fairly good. So on to the next step. What we'll want to do now is take an SD card, which in my case is a 64 gig card that I picked up separately. I don't want to mess around with the 32 one too much because we'll come back and need that. So we want to go into the game's emulation, and here we'll find RetroPie. This is us selecting what OS we want to use for our project. So there's 3 different types. As you can see, it's based on the model of the Raspberry Pi that you have. Now ours is a 4, so we want to be selecting this one. So this is the latest one that we can get through. This is Raspberry Pi Imager, which is the nicest way of getting these. It seems very, very simple. And then we just want to select our device, our memory card. So I've got it hooked in through a card reader stick. So we'll select that. That's our 64 gig card. In the end, I do want to use a 128 just because of the amount of data that I want to put onto it, which is perfectly fine. Now be very careful when you're selecting this, because once you hit right, it will erase everything that's on the drive that you've selected. So yeah, check and double check that you're on the right drive before you do anything. So we'll hit right and off she'll go. Now it will take a little bit of time just to write the image onto your selected card. So we'll just leave this to run. It'll then verify, and then our build will be ready to hook into or to put the SD card into the Raspberry Pi itself and perform our first boot up. So there's the image just verifying, just checking for any errors, making sure everything is done. Once it's complete, it'll let us know. There we are, and we can remove the SD card and insert it into the Raspberry Pi. So on the underside of the circuit board itself, there is the card reader. So I just want to remove just to show you. You can actually access the reader from the outside of the case, but just wanted to show you exactly how she'll go in. Make sure it's nice and snug, and then we'll put the Pi back into place. Like I say, you don't have to do this, it can be done from the outside of the case. So there we are, we've moved over to our little workstation with the TV, and we've got a few things that we'll need to wire this all up. So first of all, we've got the Pi itself. Then I've got my Xbox controller, which I'm going to use. That is the HDMI lead, and of course our power supply. So here we go. It's a bit of a mess of cables at the moment. I'm not really that good at cable management, but basically we've got it powered into the plug socket in the wall. I have an HDMI splitter which then goes up into my TV. So that is gone into the splitter, and then the Xbox controller is then connected into just one of the USBs. So here we go. First time boot. Give it some power. Everything switches on, the Xbox controller lights up, so it's getting power. The TV is also connected to the same plug socket, so it's just warming up. And fuck. So going back to the Raspberry Pi, or the RetroPie website, it seems that the newer boards, which mine is, has a problem with the some of the builds of Raspberry Pi, so it recommends you download a newer version. Now I actually only started this today on the 14th, so build is there sitting ready. It came out today, so I'm very happy and very lucky at that, but it does mean we have to start again from scratch. So we download the build manually, so I've erased everything that was on the memory card previously, and this time we want to use a custom image. So what we'll do is we'll navigate to where I've downloaded the image, select which one it is. That's her, the 4.8 one, the one that just came out. Again, we'll choose the storage that we want, which is our 64-bit card, and we hit write, and away she goes again. Okay, so new image burnt onto the SD card. I've done nothing else at this stage. put it back in and we'll power on one more time. So again, TV will go through its little warm up here, and hopefully we'll get a bit further than we did the last time. Okay, so this is definitely a new screen. We've gotten past the blocker that we had previously. So let's see what she does. This is looking much better. It looks to be going through a startup process. So hopefully, as she goes through, we'll be able... There we are, that's good, the RetroPie splash screen. This is looking very good now. So she'll just continue to go through the startup sequence until it's sort of finished. It'll then boot up emulation station and things like that. If you have a pen drive or a flash drive inserted at this stage, it'll start to copy things over from that into the SD card, which will go over in another part. But this is looking very good. It's just running through everything, setting everything up on a first time boot, and there we go. That's it, loading up emulation station on all of the preloaded emulators that are packaged in there. So now it has detected the Xbox controller and it wants us to set it up. So it's fairly simple. It gives you on screen a display of what buttons you're about to map to, and you basically just have to select what button you want for each of the various maps. So up, down, left, right on the D-pad, start and select. Then we'll go through A, B, X and Y. So there you are. It's fairly simple. Just follow the instructions on screen and you shouldn't have any real issue. This seems to be going quite well. Now this will be the end of this part. This is Raspberry Pi built and running, or sorry, not this is RetroPie built and up and running on our Raspberry Pi. So I think that's a good stopping point for here, and then the next time we come back we'll start talking about configs and ROMs. So we've hit a few wee snags, but we got there in the end and I'm fairly happy with how things went. Anyway guys, I thank you very much for joining me and I will see you next time. Hopefully that you find this interesting. Bye for now.